you like me now?
What are you out?
Upset with the firings going on. There's people being fired at the FBI, people being fired at IRS, Veteran Affairs, other agencies, that Consumer Protection Board. They are people who their job is to protect American citizens, to serve American citizens, to serve the community, to serve the world.
Civil liberties. And I know there are several, but the fact that he's intent on trying to dismantle the Constitution, with that goes the Bill of Rights and our civil liberties, and those are ours, and we fought for them.
Okay with the tariffs and the tanking of the stock market. We're not okay with the idea of freezing funding that our schools are dependent on, that our community, that our cities depend on. And so we want to let other people know that you're not alone.
Democracy, hands off women's rights. Only a woman decides what's best for her. Hands off our LGBTQ rights.
Hands off education. Hands off democracy. Hands off America.
I am worried about what happened in Germany back in 1932 all the way to 1945. And you know what happened to Germany? Got destroyed by the Allies because of one idiot named Adolf Hitler. And we have one in the White House at this time. Remember how the Nazis accelerated very fast and how they took a lot of countries when the war started in 1940 or 1939? It was called the Blitzkrieg. That's exactly what Musk and Trump are doing now. They're accelerating all of these laws fast. Look, this is what, 2.5 months? Look how far he got. Look how much he destroyed the country already. Who's in charge of this? Elon Musk. He's not even in Congress. He's not in the Senate. He's not an elected official. What right does that guy have to decide for this country? He calls Social Security the biggest Ponzi scheme. I put into it. I'm collecting. I started getting my deductions since I was 12 in 1965, working in the fields. I'm retired now with the military, 2008, after 30 years of service. And I'm not going to let these clowns get rid of my VA benefits and Social Security. And the people that don't have good insurance, that depend on Medicaid.
Hi, I'm Brian Vega. I'm the VEGA, and I'm the chairman of the Imperial County Democratic Party. So I'm a collaborator of today's protest. This protest was organized by a Democratic club that's recognized by the Democratic Party, and they're the Democrats United of Imperial Valley. And basically they are a group of retired former teachers, former county officials who see this moment as an opportunity to elevate their cause. And as the chairman of the party and a representative of the young generation, we connected with them to mobilize and to join a part of the national movement today that's hands off. And we're just making sure that Imperial County is on the mark and that our community sees that we have some democracy defenders here at the front lines. The biggest thing is awareness, because Imperial County, as most people know, it went to the majority Republican by only 464 votes. So there's a very slight majority. And what we're hoping to realize is that this slight majority is now going to have really negative consequences for all of us in Imperial County. With all of the federal rollbacks of funding, Imperial County is one of the counties that's most dependent on federal funding. So that means our veterans, our education systems, our healthcare systems, our economy, everything is going to see itself affected. And I don't think people really realize that right now. I think people thought that with Donald Trump they were going to see a positive change, but instead I think what we're going to see is a great financial stress in our economy and our community during these next 4 years.
Have you talked to any Republicans or conservatives out here who are regretting their vote after the recent stock market crash?
They don't really come out publicly, but they do reach out to us and just kind of have reached out thinking about ways that we could partner and collaborate, but unfortunately, where we find ourselves right now is that the damage was already done. It was done with the election, so it's really hard even for them, to try to get stuff passed on their own and build sort of unilateral. But the focus of my work as the chairman of the Democratic Party is just to rebuild the party. We have the numbers. For every one registered Republican, there's 2 registered Democrats. What happened last time in the county is that our party failed to align itself with the people, with the community, and so that's why we lost it. So we have always been the party of education, the party of the working class, and we just didn't value our voter base, and we lost. And so now it's about building that up and reminding people that we are the party that keeps families together, where the Republican Party is showing us that they are the party that keeps families apart and separates families. 2 separate things here. First, people were voting with their wallets, but I think as Californians, we have to remember why it is expensive to live here is because we are largely a Democrat community, and the Democratic Party is the family party. It's expensive to advocate for healthcare. It's expensive to advocate for childcare, reproductive access to healthcare, all of these things. Education is expensive. Addressing homelessness is expensive, and under capitalism, you need money to solve these problems. But I want us to really take this into consideration as we are voting with our wallets. A lot of these Republican states like Iowa, Tennessee, Idaho, they're set to be completely bankrupt in a couple of months, where California finds itself as still a powerful, booming economy with all of these setbacks. So it's not to say that we are free of charge, right? That we have to look at how we can make it more efficient. But the reality is that it is expensive because taking care of the community is expensive. But in the past, how these monies have been allocated did not reflect what the people's values were. And that's where we find ourselves right now. But you're absolutely right that people are voting with their wallet. And because the Democratic Party did not align itself with the average wallet, we lost it. And we have to hold ourselves accountable and build up this party so that we once again realign ourselves, not just with the wallet of Imperial County, but with the families of Imperial County.